Lita, it's been a little bit since we've done a podcast. I maybe had a little bit of a issue with all the stress and everything, and the podcast had to give just a little bit so that I did not have a full breakdown, correct?
You looked like you were about to have a heart attack. I would like my mom alive.
The move from the old studio to the new studio, getting everyone in, we suddenly went from one lovely thing to, or like 8 classes to 30 classes to everything involved with that, to new students are showing up, and like dealing with parents, which I love the parents, but I have had people overload, and yeah, I'm still not 100% good. Um, but we're back. We're going to talk about stuff. We're going to talk about autism. We're going to talk about tap dancing. We've got some amazing interviews that are recorded and ready to go out. You're looking at everything there. What are you thinking? I so I wanted to talk today. We're going to record a couple episodes today, but this first one going out, I really wanted to talk about the fact that we are looking at a major, 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 major decline in IQ levels for kids in Gen Z and Gen Alpha.
And I.
All right, so Jack has decided to join us. No, so one of the things that intrigues me about this, and you're like, I am watching Jack, is we are seeing a huge decrease in IQ, and it's not just in the neurotypical community. Every single one of the autistic kids that I work with, not just at the studio, but across the board in my advocacy and all, every single one of them is being given a less than 78 IQ. And the average IQ is like 110, 120. There's a problem here, right, Lita?
Yes. Cute doggy fixes everything.
But I think there's a lot to be stated, because every single thing I'm looking at is just like, oh, they're the iPad generation for Gen Z and for Gen
I would
Alpha.
like to mention if their parents barely want to interact with them, not their fault. Their parents decided, give it an iPad. It won't bug me. It is not their fault. Their parents did not really think through what being a parent meant. Like interacting with the thing you birthed.
But you can't just blame it on the iPads, because you're noticing there's a bunch of other stuff that's happening at the same time. Schools, the school day has gotten longer. You're seeing kids are being, it's not just iPads. It's, you don't have the recess you did. You don't have the free time you had in high school. You're not interacting with kids. You're not interacting with adults the way you used to. The higher the IQ you used to have, the more likely you were to be interacting with adults versus interacting with your own age group, which may or may not be a good idea. You're seeing things like the gifted and talented programs that used to be, so separate. They have mainstreamed those. They have mainstreamed special ed classes, the IEPs. Almost everyone has an IEP, but the IEPs aren't. Go ahead.
Homeschool. Best school. For this decade. Just saying. Homeschool. Best school. Don't care what my friends say. Homeschool. Best school.
But there's another thing. If you do traditional homeschool with like a Friday school or a co-op school added to it, you're not seeing the same decline in IQ levels. You are seeing the same decline in IQ levels on online schools, which are, saying, oh, we're homeschooled, or certain umbrella schools. But if you are doing more tutoring, if you're doing this, you're not seeing that decline in IQ. So it cannot just be, there's so many things that are going on. How are they just medically saying it's the iPad?
Because have you met these people that are lazy? They are a scapegoat. And unfortunately, none of them have children who are the scapegoat. You want to say something, Jake?
The pitty's not talking. The pit bull does not really do a lot of talking on the podcast. No, but I mean, here's a question I have for people, and especially within the autistic community. A lot of these decisions are being made like you're not
By
seeing
idiots.
you're not seeing yeah, I'm not saying they're being made by idiots, and I think we need to have a whole discussion on the adult diagnosed and the self-diagnosed making so many decisions about what's right and wrong for the community, but that's a different podcast.
If I see an idiot, I will say it's an idiot. I won't lie. I got told that lies are bad. If it is an idiot, I will call it out for being idiot. Hi, Jack.
But here's
Hi. You need to
the
look at
Jackie
the
Poo's
paw.
having fun. The Jackie Poo's having a lot of fun. Here's my question for a lot of these researchers though, and I think it's more than just the iPad, like I said. They're like, well, their attention spans are giving out because they're just watching YouTube shorts, they're just watching TikToks. The thing is, that doesn't hold water because they're also in school for longer than they've ever been in school before.
Also, it's kind of hard to watch YouTube or TikTok when you have no time for it. And nobody's staying up past 12 p.m. at night.
That's another question. All these kids, they were in, like, when you're looking at Gen Z and even into you, they're in 20 gazillion different things. They're not focusing like in my age group, in the millennials or, Gen X. If we had one thing we were doing, you did that sport, you did that musical instrument, you did that one thing. You might go try some others with rec, but you didn't train hard for more than one thing. Nowadays, you have parents who have 5 different things they've got their kids in one night. Is it just the Instagram and Reels and YouTube Shorts and TikTok, or is it that you've never
Or
let
the some reason before you even hit the age of 10 burnout? Just saying. Just saying. Just saying. Just saying, you idiots. Well, not you idiots, but the idiots who are daring to make these cold research. Yeah, definitely scientific. Yeah. Children, why are you all children redoing child psychology? Goddamn. I'm sorry, don't be in a freaking child thing if you don't even like children.
Well, and I think there's also the idea that you can just blame iPads and nothing else. And this decline is huge. This decline is so significant. It is ridiculous. And it cannot just be explained away by, oh, look, they had iPads.
Hello, so therefore they did something mess them up. Don't know what. It's not like I have so many lists of reasons, but they
Well,
have friends.
within the autistic community, and I don't within the autistic community, I think that this kind of helps my point is we test your IQ at like 2, 3 years old, and then we retest you at 5 or 6 and say that is your final IQ. You will not go any further.
Hey, yes, let's have a 5-year-old drive this shit. Drive the type. Spaceship.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. But
Actually, no, that would go terribly, terribly wrong. We don't want dead 5-year-olds.
I think the thing though is you cannot blame iPads
on child.
No, you definitely can't blame the child, but you cannot blame iPads when a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, I've seen parents come to me with a 1.5-year-old, a 13-month-old, and they're like, my child has just scored such a bad IQ that they're telling me my child is going to be living with me for the rest of my life.
Yes, I would like to say, A, the idiots are making the IQ test. B, they want to make it seem like they're not idiots for their own ego's sake. And C, Yeah, for their own ego's sake, they're making the 1 and month-year-old look stupid in the world. And no offense, if you're a parent who believes it, just no offense, that's 1 month into the world. Why do you believe it? I'm sorry, why? I'm sorry, it's just the hard truth. Don't give me, oh, but parents make mistakes. What mistakes on that one? I'm sorry. Barely even stayed awake for a good chunk of hours. That really doesn't exist. That's like they know you exist at like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. Like I didn't actually realize
Well,
my existence
considering
until
we're finding
6.
out that neurodivergent kiddos start getting PTSD from about the time they're born into this very neurotypical world.
Yeah, that's because neurotypical like to do a thing called also very, 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 very rude. Also, I'm not the rude one. Also, at least I don't lie. At least I call out the idiot when I see an idiot. No offense. I'm not gonna let the idiot say an idiot. You gotta call out the idiot so it stops being an idiot. You can't be nice to tell the idiot, oh,
But that's what they're saying these kids are. And I don't think enough parents
I
understand
meant on
coming.
adults, not children. Children literally don't understand. If 40 and don't know how to drive a car, so help me, you don't have a good medical reason.
Okay, well, 4-year-olds normally don't know how to drive a car. But what I'm saying is, I think some of these parents are so, and I think the researchers are so looking for the problem, like to be one thing they can fix. But you sit there and I talk to these parents, and they're like, my next stop is TRE, which is the resource exchange here in Colorado Springs and a lot of other places. And I'm sitting there going, I don't know if you're aware of this. You as a parent need to, like back in the day, we had a lot more social stuff for adults. You had your quilting circles, you had your book clubs, you had places that not like karate and dance and all that, where you're doing an activity or the gym. You had places you actually had to go sit down and talk to people of different age groups. Like there were the really old women and the really young women, and there were discussions being had. Like even bridal showers and baby showers were about imparting wisdom into the next generation. And I have to question how much of the IQ issue is we don't have that anymore. So you have like a bunch of these autistic parents being told that your kid scored so badly that they are considered intellectually disabled for life, delayed for life, intellectually delayed disability, whatever they call
If I just could say, can we please burn that word? I'm sorry, that word is shit. Just burn it. Just burn it like the Salem witch trials, goddamn.
But the thing is, and I'm gonna try to be as nice about this as possible, parents. It's not just your iPads. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, though. And I think a lot of it is you see the more kids have IEPs in school, the more dumbed down the deal goes, the more IDEA goes. And I'm not saying IEPs are bad. I'm saying the people putting them together,
The
though.
school wants money. They're money hungry. They're money hungry. No offense, it ain't the rich you should be worried about being money hungry. It's the people that literally run the school system.
Let me
Hungry freaking hungry.
I don't think it's teachers. I don't think it is the administration, like the lower administrations. I don't think they know. I've talked to teachers who are like, we get no extra money for this kid on an IEP. And I'm sitting there talking to the school board who knows exactly how much money. Every school board member I've ever talked to knows exactly what an IEP diagnosis means for the school system. Oh, wow. Politicians are money hungry. I'm shocked, Lita, to find out that the politicians are money hungry.
No offense, people. You keep saying you don't like these people. Then hopefully follow these people. No offense. Pick a side. Pick the lane. I'm like this thing that likes going after 5.
No, but that goes back to I think, I think there's a lot to be said that everyone dealing with these kids do not understand autism. They don't understand. You're getting, teachers don't get taught anything other than the material. But even then, you don't have to learn the material. And this is not a bash on teachers. What is the doggo doing? But you can't just blame the iPads, which is what teachers are blaming the parents are blaming the teachers, researchers are blaming the iPad, and
People, stop looking for a scapegoat. Actually, the problem. Stop looking for a scapegoat. Actually, fix it. Stop looking for a scapegoat. Have brains.
but there is so much more to it. Like I said, you see a major increase in kids being diagnosed with IQ issues at a very young age in 2010, 2011, 2012, which is right when they're saying that the IQ shift happened. Your IQ, when we got it tested when you were a baby, was not good.
Oh, shock. I was only a few years into the world. I knew shit. Oh, shocker. Oh, such a shocker. Such a shocker. That's the thing. That was only a few years into the world. Knew nothing. Oh, no, that's such a shock. A shocker. A shocker. Steve.
Can I continue?
Yeah.
But I think your dad and I, and even your team, who all were a little tizzy ourselves, or a lot, we put that to the side and went, well, that's her at 3. We didn't bother to retest you at 6 because we're like, this thing was meant for 18-year-olds. You should have been retested at 6. None of us bothered to.
Guys, in Wyoming.
Idaho. But, I mean,
Idaho. I'm sorry. I keep confusing the two. Why do I keep confusing the two? I really gotta figure out why I keep flipping states in my head.
I think there's a lot to be said, though, about the fact that this idea that it's just the iPad, when you have so much other data points, it's ridiculous. And parents are parents, and they're going to clasp onto it's just the iPad.
I'm sorry you can't use the scapegoat child on this.
But think about it, because they're like, well, the iPad and AI. AI is making kids dumber.
If you actually bother to figure out your child's issues in life instead of just going, I blame it on this and go on with my life, I'd be doing better. I'm probably talking to you.
But no, like on the AI thing, and I'll say this: I do not use ChatGPT. I use the paid Gemini, and I use AI with a lot of stuff. And AI, to use it right, you have to be extremely smart. You have to know how to code, how to speak to it, how to do stuff. Now, if you want to just use ChatGPT the way a lot of these teenagers are, we had Ask Jeeves, and it was just as stupid. So it can't just be AI, because we had Ask Jeeves, and they said that was going to create IQ problems. And younger millennials might seem stupid to me, but their IQ didn't go down. You're like, what is Ask Jeeves, mother?
No, I was just gonna say, no offense to most of humanity, but the animals seem to be doing better with the limited amount of emotions they get.
And I mean, you're right on that, but here's I have to ask, how much of this is listening to therapists who are giving
all of it
bad advice?
I said all of it. Also,
yeah,
I'm sorry, this is making Komodo dragons seem like the smartest thing on the planet. They are not. They are not. This freaking book. It's like, I'm sorry. How are we top dog across the world, and yet we seem to not act like we should be top dog? I'm sorry. I should be rolling the planet.
But there has to be a question asked, especially because we are seeing a larger amount of autistic kids now than ever before being tested as IDD, and which last I checked, we got rid of in the DSM, but we'll ignore that fact. And something has to, and they're being tested at a younger age, and parents are holding on to that. And I'm kind of wondering how much of this is a self-fulfilling prophecy, because then you're being told to go, instead of like,
it must be all of it.
But I mean, because you get the whole thing where you have more and more kids and more young adults, they're coming out. Granted, they can't talk to people, but if you are in school so many hours a day and you're not supposed to talk in class, and then you go straight from school to your after school activities, and you're not just in like one activity, you're in like 5 or 6 activities throughout the night. So you're bouncing from basketball to soccer to dance to swim class. And then you have your therapies, and what used to be like, hey, we'd have all our therapies at this one location, and our therapists would all chitty chat with each
This
other, and
is
we'd have a
somehow
team.
making the 18th, 16th, 17th, and 19th century look like the good years. I'm
So
sorry. When America was ruled by Britain being the decent years. I'm sorry. Better decade to live in. Actually, now that I'm saying it's a caveman will probably the better decade to live in.
So when I was young, if you had any ability to pretend you were, neurotypical, hello, hi, nice to meet you, there were a lot of things like, looking back, it's like, I think teachers needed to learn a lot more, and they still do. But like my teachers, I had dysgraphia. It made my handwriting and spelling bad. OMG, we need to heal her back in first grade. Nowadays, we're like, OMG, we're not going to work on the dyslexia or dysgraphia. We're just going to pass them. We've got a problem. Neither one is a good idea. But I kind of have to wonder, is there a better option? Because my age group, you saw us jump from
Let the smart people do what the smart people should be handling, and don't let the idiots handle what should be done by smarties, and don't let the idiots feed ego children look stupid. Girls only been on the planet 3 years. They can't do
well, no, but like
it's
I had friends who rode the short bus, were in the special classes, who today are lawyers because they got the learning they needed with the stuff they needed. And yes, others did not make it, but on the other hand, we separated the really intelligent kids out. It wasn't just the dumb kids, for lack of a better word. But I think we never had IEPs. Like, I had an IEP because I have a speech problem. Most of my friends, unless you were in the special class, if you got into the gifted and talented class, you did not have an IEP. I think reading some of these IEPs, I'm like, dear teachers, I think I know where the IQ is going down. No, so like some of these IEPs that I read, it's things like, oh, your child has severe learning problems. They don't have to do their homework. It's up to mom and dad to do.
what? I'm sorry. People.
I have seen IEPs where the student does not have to take their state test. A teacher or an adult can take their state test for them because the student would be
So these are
overwhelmed.
pampered little children. So you're telling me these children are getting pampered like a little show dog? Like Teen Titans
That's
Little Show Dog? Like a little show dog? Like Teen Titans Little Show Dog? Like Teen Titans Little Show Dog? You know, show dogs have mental issues and no quality of life. Quality of life.
But do you, if everyone's always doing your work for you, doesn't that make it harder on you?
I mean, duh. You're not learning anything.
And if everyone is always doing everything for you,
I'm sorry, I have to force myself to figure out how to survive on my own when you're on.
which leads me to my question of, is it possible that the IQ rates are plummeting? And we're talking average IQ in your generation is below average IQ overall.
I have one thing. Why keep saying possible like it ain't the truth?
Because there haven't been studies into this. They've all been studying the
No.
iPad.
They've also all been studied by people who don't even like children.
I can't prove that, but they're not looking into, okay, so the IEP rates are.
I mean, you can if you ask them, do you ever want children? If they say, no, I'm child free, then I don't like children.
But think about it. When I was a kid, with the beginning of the IEPs and the IDEA Act, they were very careful about what your IEP said. Like, I had severe dysgraphia. I still have severe dysgraphia. I mean, you've seen people walk into the studio and go, Amanda, you misspelled something. And I'm like, hi, dysgraphic here. Why'd you let me try to write or do anything? But I think, but that wasn't like, it wasn't the crutch it has become. Like now it's like, oh, they're dysgraphic. We won't have them try to write or spell. Guess
I'm
what?
sorry, no offense. I, 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 I'm sorry. You, it's a I meant like once a week in my dead life, and now you're like, they put the big.
But no, it's even worse than that. It's okay, they're dyslexic, they're not reading. Let's not give them audiobooks. Let's not have them listen to adult
I'm
podcasts.
sorry. No offense. I don't know, maybe people who want to.
It's run by people who don't want to give up power. If
No.
you keep the populace down,
I
Lita,
already knew that. I met the other people. Are we sure the other people aren't also helping?
I'm not sure. But if you keep the populace down, you're a lot better
You
off.
know, I don't trust these random people I see online going, we need to far right and then willfully giving that. I'm sorry. Hey, you watch your rights and you're willfully giving it up by will. By
But a
freaking will.
But a lot of these requests aren't coming from within the autistic community. A lot of these IEP, IDEA Act requests, what people think is the community asking for it. It's parents asking
Hey,
for
I
it.
want
It's
money.
totally different. It's not just that with the parents. It is they have been given a bill of goods that parents have been sold a bill of goods that their kid can't. And they start self-doubting and everyone around them is telling them, oh, all this stuff works, which the community has continuously said this stuff doesn't work. And but if it was just the autistic community, it'd be one thing. We're looking at even the neurotypical IQ is going down. Something has to give, but you're seeing neurotypical students on IEPs and 504 plans now. You're not just seeing kids with gifted and talented. You're not just seeing kids who need it. It used to be your IEP was only if you needed specific things from the school. But the IDEA Act brought a lot of what used to be privately done into schools because we couldn't trust, because parents were working too much. It wasn't that we couldn't trust them. It would definitely not be that the federal government did an entire act saying that they don't trust you as a parent.
I thought that. I'm not supposed to say what I'm seeking on here, aren't I?
At this point in time,
this is confidential, ain't
at
it?
this point in time, we have kids who grew up in Idaho and Iowa in the Great Depression have that were growing up in a one room schoolhouse and doing agriculture, working daddy's farm at the same time, and on an ag schedule, which meant, they weren't there when planting was going on. They weren't there when calving was going on. They weren't there when harvesting was going on. They were going at a very, they weren't learning algebra, calculus, all these higher level subjects in school.
So learning via their daddy and mom.
They have a higher IQ than we are seeing in this generation.
Oh, I wonder why. Oh, I wonder why. Oh, I wonder why. Is that like it's so obvious?
It's not, though, because if you think about it, you're looking at a bunch of papers coming out, Lita, that are like, oh, we know it's iPads and
I distrust the papers. They're not even actually doing research. They're just writing shit. They are literally just writing buffaloes.
It's the papers and are coming out and saying it's iPads and it is AI.
Oh,
And they're
yes, and it's
telling
definitely
teacher, but you also have to, and I'm going to put this out there. There is a large autism industrial complex that makes billions of dollars a year, billions. And they're starting to have more and more adult things for the adult daycares for the parents who can't have to get guardianships of their kids, which I am not going to conspiracy theory. I'm just going to leave it there.
I am 14 and yet I am highly unsettled and creeped out, and it sounds like the start to a movie.
I think some of these parents and some of these educators are not as up on the autism industrial complex as other people are.
I'm sorry,
But
I am highly disturbed.
if it was just the iPads, if it was 100% just iPads are causing this and artificial intelligence, then why are 3-year-olds scoring lower than ever before?
Because a good chunk of those people scoring it. Well-being of A, have ego and need to maintain that ego. B, want power and need to maintain that power. And C, we all know what is C if you're part of my friend group.
But I mean, it makes no sense to me. And maybe it's just because I'm crazy, but if you are looking at very young kids who should not have had that, they're not looking at artificial intelligence yet. We're looking at Gen Beta. So between Millennials and Gen Z, there was a huge significant drop in IQ. Between Gen Z and Gen Alpha, there was a huge significant drop in IQ. Between Gen Alpha and Gen Beta, there's another huge significant drop in IQ.
Wait, there's actually a Gen Beta?
The babies at the studio are Gen Beta.
I mean,
The little ones at the studio are a different generation than you.
they're not that younger than me.
Welcome to the world.
Generations are stupid. Generations are stupid. Whoever's doing this whole generation thing is stupid.
But ignoring the generations are stupid. You are looking between the 80s kids and the kids who were born in 2000. So in case anyone's wondering, not all of them were raised by iPads.
A good chunk of them were born before iPads were made. Till the 2000s kids, because iPads weren't even made in the 2000s. That was 2011.
And to blame it
On
on
the 2000s was really long legs of that.
which is what I'm saying. If you look at that, 2000 is when those IEPs started expanding and going crazy. And you start seeing the IDEA Act come in more and more to most every single student. And you start seeing a decline in IQs starting in the 2000 that starts gradually declining. But they're like, oh, these kids born in 2000 got iPads when they were 10. And
Yes, it's the child's fault.
everything was always the child's fault. But, and then they're like, and they're growing up with AI. No, they didn't. In their 20s, people.
Wait, AI became a thing when I was fucking 8 and 10.
No, they're claiming
18.
they're claiming Chat GPT in Gen Z's youth, which last I checked.
What do you mean Gen Z youth? That happened in like 2018, 2019. What? Hey,
That's what I'm saying. Is there like, because Chat GPT existed.
I'm sorry. What? Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't you want to be nice to these parents listening to these people, but I'm sorry. And I have seen there's people who know more information about this. And
No, that's where my question is you this idea that it's just iPad. We are talking elder Gen Z who is in the workforce, who is hitting stock.
they didn't have a disability. Is the reason why they have a disability.
Here's my thing. We are talking about Gen Z who is hitting 30. They're like in their 20s.
Oh my, they're old now.
Now graduating high school.
They're
But I
old
think that group's going to wind up being pushed back
They're
into
old
Gen
now.
Z or Gen A. But you're talking 20s and 30-year-olds, and it's, oh, they had iPads that came along in
No.
2010.
Well, I'm sorry, they were a tween when you were still using the box computer.
iPads are just a year.
The damn
Yeah, you are the same age as iPads.
sorry. The 30-year-old person was. That's a
They
well,
are
Gen
saying
Z is old.
they're saying Gen Z has never known a time without
What?
AI.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What idiot is making?
Lita, Gen Z,
I'm
Lita,
sorry.
the eldest Gen Zers were born in the 1900s.
No offense. I was not alive in the 1900s.
Gen Z starts in 96.
I was alive then. Wait, that's before the computer.
Lita, they're talking people who were born before smartphones, not before the internet, but before smartphones were a thing, before your iPod
Before I
was
was
a thing,
alive. Before
Before.
Monster High.
before YouTube, before TikTok, before
Before
Instagram,
My Little
before
Pony Friendship is
Facebook.
Magic.
And they are saying that the reason
Jake
their
and the
IQ
Neverland Pirates, Lion Guard. I can go down a less Bluey. I can go down a wherever.
they're
They weren't
saying
alive before Barbie. Barbie is old.
they're saying that the IQ
Barbie
was
Dreamhouse.
because these kids grew up with iPads, except for iPads started in 2010.
Dog
And the decline in
McStuffins.
IQs starts with the 1996 group.
I can't remember the other names of TV shows I watched as a child, but still.
Between the elder millennials and the elder Gen Z,
Craig
there
and
is
Creek. Teen
between-
Titans Go. I have a list of everything rated 2011.
between my elder millennial generation and the elder Gen Z generation, there is a significant IQ drop, yet they're worse at an iPad. There are 100%, Lita, stating that this drop started from the 2010 iPad, even though there was already a significant
Jake
drop.
and the Neverland Pirates.
But that's where it's like, this doesn't make sense. This absolutely does not make sense. Either you need to redo the generations or something's wrong. Because what they're doing is they're claiming that Gen Z had your life.
Or they're looking at nothing and just randomly writing bullshit.
Oh, I think they're not randomly writing BS. I think they are looking at the wrong data because what they're seeing is these kids were going into, middle school when the iPad came
I'm
out.
sorry. Are you telling me the wrong data is telling them that random 30-year-old people were alive in the 2011?
No, what I'm saying is it's really easy sometimes when you're doing a paper to see one data point and fixate on that data point.
Fence Mother, why did you have to make me smart? My life would be easier interacting with these people if I wasn't smart.
Well, according to the newest papers out there, you should not have the IQ you have because you're a Gen Alpha
What?
and your IQ.
So I just think,
They are.
are they texting a good amount of children?
They are. And like I said, for autistic kids, your IQ is supposedly cemented by the time you're 5 or 6. But the thing is, it doesn't make sense because every single one of y'all is coming up with a IQ below 78. Either A, the testers are wrong, which I am more than willing to go, why are we seeing a 90% below 78 range?
Because they have egos. They want to keep their egos. If their egos ain't met, they will be sad because, oh no, you want me in my ego. Why did my
Okay, so
voice
math
sound
is not my
so
strong
weird
suit
for
because
that?
I got a degree in something else. So let me give you this. What they are saying, Lita, is that your generation of autistic kids are 48 points below an average IQ.
You know, it doesn't count if you're only looking at what the IQ was at 5. Doesn't count if you don't.
But there's the thing is all these parents are believing it. So I am wondering if it's becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. If
You might want to also test the parents. No offense. I think we might want to also test the parents and these testers. We might want to test them. I'm not unless you're a part of my friend group, then yeah, this is not aimed at you. I'm not so sure that these parents. I think we might want to test parents. Just make sure it's working.
I think you're right. I think one of my favorite things of this whole thing is you're seeing parents now go, oh, and people have said it's the iPad for a while, but there's so much else going on here. I mean, you took away recess.
Phones.
Well, yeah, but let's go over things you've taken away in schools for Gen Z.
Everything.
Recess,
Everything.
arts,
Everything.
theater.
I made anybody feel anything inside and then make them feel as numb as a tree that's hollow.
Even a lot of sports have gone to, you don't have JV anymore.
So did we just watch the Depression era all over again? Because I feel like this is what this is leading up to.
Well, okay, first off, the Depression era was due to a lot of other stuff. It was the stock market crash and a major.
Tell me that other
divestment.
stuff isn't gonna repeat.
It can, but I mean, you're also seeing there was with Gen Z, especially the younger millennials. I'm tossing y'all in there too. You saw the push to have well-rounded, where you could not focus on one thing.
Rounded what? Depressed
mean,
at
I'm
a
not saying-
young age?
I am not saying, however, you're looking at and I'm not sure if this is dealing with anything, but you're looking at parents have because that's the other thing is they're saying kids are mentally exhausted. But if you are, say, but you're sitting there and you've got kids nowadays, let's take the autism world because that's where we're in. You're in ABA for a gazillion hours a week. You're in school for a gazillion hours a week. You're in speech for a few hours a week. You're in OT for a few hours a week. Maybe while in school, then you turn around and your parents have you in dance therapy, music therapy, swim therapy, this therapy, horseback riding therapy. You have no time to sit and go, let me just relax. I'm not sure. And sometimes, I mean, we've had it where someone calls up and goes, hey, well, I've got to cancel because they've got another thing with their other thing. And I know it's going on with the, whatchamacallit, neurotypical world, because I've talked to friends of mine who own dance studios and they're like, we'll have a rehearsal scheduled and so-and-so can't make it because of volleyball practice. And it's like, I get that this is what you've trained parents to do.
So basically, how you flip a child, make them not have a childhood, like a 95 adult.
Yes. But that's also, I mean, if the IQ scores we're looking at, and once more, this is based off of guys who were helping their daddy on the farm in the 30s. You have to ask yourself, I think, in a lot of ways, is there a correlation between the fact that back then you weren't doing a gazillion things at once? You weren't in school for hours on end. You had to go help with the household chores. You had to do that. I mean, and then you see, it continuously got better and better with your scores until the millennials and elder millennials at that.
I'm gonna go with one had mental health and one didn't.
Have you seen how much Gen X and the millennials drink? I'm not really 100% sure as elder millennials had mental health.
Mom, even though they drink, have you ornament lately? I'm sorry. Chief adults, you then just that. Sorry. Alcohol. I'm sorry,
Okay.
but Santa Claus, what's this ornament? Oh my.
But here's a question that I have for these researchers. You are saying that this decline is because of something that came up after a good chunk of these kids were out of their formative years. You are basing this on the elder, and there is a small decline, not the dramatic decline, but there's a small decline between elder millennials and younger millennials. You are basing this, not the they're basing it off of the idea that it's something that didn't come around until these kids were like
They're also basing it off of when they got tested at 5.
no, they're still looking at some of them later from your age group,
Are we
and they're
testing
not seeing
parents?
any. What they're seeing is no. So previously, like you're one of the weird ones where your IQ at 5 is not your IQ now. Let's be honest.
Oh, look, it has that.
They're seeing declines in IQs from that group that was tested, like with autistic kids in 2010. Their IQ at 5 is better than their IQ when they're your age.
Severe trauma does stuff.
No, actually, TBI does not do anything to your IQ.
I am just, this is animal on the planet like smarter than every single scientist, every single human on the planet.
But you see where I'm
orchids being the top dog, seriously.
But you can see where I'm questioning this idea that it is specifically just one thing. And I'm wondering, is there enough evidence to claim, oh, it's just because the iPad made you stupid?
No.
And since AI, for these elders, Gen Zers, 96, 97, 98, to, I don't know, like the entirety pretty much of Gen Z's life, they didn't have AI. So how is AI a problem? I mean, where is...
Because they need a scapegoat and they don't want to say, I'm sorry, it's our fault because we did bad.
I'm not disagreeing that AI is... I mean, ChatGPT is probably a little dumbing down. I'm not saying iPads aren't dumbing down. I'm saying there's got to be more going on. You are seeing kids overstimulated. You're seeing kids go with IEPs that are allowing them to get away with doing nothing. You're seeing teachers who have too many kids with IEPs in their classes. You're seeing mainstream classes with over 90% of the mainstream class having IEPs. You cannot do that as a teacher. And this is not me bashing teachers. How the heck do you, in a class of 30 kids, deal with 20 to 28 IEPs? You can't. An individual education plan is an individual education plan. You got to keep it 20 to 28. I've known teachers who their entire class is on an IEP.
And now I'm just going to bash humanity. I'm sorry. The whales did the evolution cooler. They did it cooler. They became the cool thing. We are just killing like the weirdest shape on the planet. The whales cool. I say you decided to have babies that come out looking like...
How much of this is also, and this is not bashing on any specific parent I know, but a bunch of them I work with, when I'm doing IEP stuff for the job and I'm like, hey, who is actually your child's therapist? They can't tell me who their child's therapist is because they've never actually interacted with their child's therapist.
I'm starting to think Komodo's dragons did something right.
All I'm saying is there seems to be a lot of data points that were ignored by these researchers that I think they need to not ignore.
I mean, but if they don't ignore them, then their egos are gonna plummet. Mommy, these pools... So what? It's dumbed down enough.
Maybe. All right. Well, welcome back to the podcast. We kind of went full-fledged in. We will obviously be doing dance stuff. The studio's doing great. So to end on a good note, studio's doing great. We are going to be offering 60 plus classes this fall. Did you not realize we're offering 60 plus classes until right now?
I love you. I know there were bad things in that era, but why am I suddenly thinking, even though there were bad things in that era, I suddenly want to live in the 1300s because the 1300s at least didn't have that we have in the 21st century.
And well,
I'm like, God, first the crap in the 1300s.
I think So, in other good news, the studio's starting our pre-professional program, the Golden Chrysalises, because we decided the
Please don't
person.
kill me any of my
Oh,
mentors or friends that I know, please.
So, those of us who can't spell, hi me, went, oh, look, let's do the Golden Chrysalises. And I'm the one spelling it nonstop, and it is not a common word to spell. Hey, so if you see it messed up anywhere on the internet or in printed material, hi, my name's Vanda. I have dysgraphia, and that leads to spelling issues.
Also, Miss Chloe, if you're listening to this, I didn't have I will name. Also
I've
to
already
my
mentioned that.
friends. Please don't kill me. Please. Please. Please.
We're going to do our first recital for a lot of these kids. It'll be their first time on stage ever. For the Golden Chrysalises, you guys are like, do I have to do recital? We've got a golf tournament coming
I
up.
don't know how this happened. I am rolling with life.
We've got the golf tournament coming up in August. We have your birthday pickleball tournament for the studio. It's gonna be fun. And so yeah, Friday we will have a podcast on Friday, and we will be getting back into doing this on a regular basis because it is fun to sit and have these discussions with you, Lita.
It is.
I like it. All right, shall we wrap it up?
Yes.
All right, so where can they find everything for the podcast on the webs, Lita?
I don't know. I don't run it.
At Lita's Tap
I
Styles.
don't
on
run
most,
any of my own stuff.
at Lita's Tap Styles on Facebook and YouTube. We have a Facebook. We have a Facebook group. You should come join the group. Except for you don't run your own socials.
Except if you're my friends.
On Insta, if you look at Lita's Tap Styles, it's just you, not the podcast. Sorry. TikTok at Lita's Tap Style Podcast. Website, Lita's Tap Styles, blah, blah, blah. The website also says where people can see you, like for meet and greets and for and the shows around town and hopefully here around the country again soon. All right. So everyone enjoy your day and we'll talk to you later. Right, Lita? Bye.
Hello, thank you for watching the podcast, and please subscribe and also look at that adorable paper. So if you want to subscribe for it, and also please leave a like, and don't forget if you subscribe to our stuff, you won't miss any of our new podcast stuffies. And also, did you see that adorable paper? Don't you like it?